What up, y'all? So today I'm gonna be doing a tutorial on how I do my Fringe DIY tapestry pants. So unfortunately, I had already cut the pants before I showed y'all how I cut the pants. So here I'm just kind of like reenacting with a different pair of pants and a different blanket. I'm just folding the pants in half, laying them on the blanket, and then cut the front and back. You cut the fringes off, and basically how the pants are laying there, you just cut them, like trace them. So you'll end up with two fronts and two backs. And remember to cut a little bit outside of the line just for extra seam allowance. And then of course, you got your fringes. I just cut all the fringe off the blanket so you can have as much as possible. And then of course you want some elastic. I'm just measuring around my waist. So here I'm just laying down the back of the pants, the two backs, and then I'm laying down the two fronts on top of the backs. So don't be alarmed if the top of the back pants is a little bit longer than the front pants. It's supposed to be like that. But the inner leg should match. So go ahead and sew up that inner leg. And here you can see how it's like shorter on top than it is on the bottom. That's okay. It's supposed to be like that. So when you're done sewing those inner legs together, it should look like this. It should give kind of like a U shape. So front leg to the back leg. So now, since the pants are open, we're gonna go ahead and sew the bottom fringe on. I like to sew it facing downwards first, so we can get it attached. So you see I'm like just kind of straightening the fringe out. This is the bottom of the pants. Not the top part where the U is, but the bottom part of the pants. So we're going to go ahead and sew that on. Once we get that sewn on, I then like to flip it over and put another stitch in it just to make it go downwards. Yeah, like put another stitch in it right there. See how it's like nice and flowing in the right direction when you put that extra stitch in there? Okay, so it should look just like this. And then you want to go ahead and obviously do that to the same thing to the other leg. So you'll have two sets of this. And what I like to do is just lay them on top of each other. So right sides together. Basically, the side that you're going to be wearing, right side, you put those together. Now these should line up perfectly. And you want to make sure that little U shape is like perfectly matched. That's like the crotch and butt area of the pants. So what you're going to do is once that's all lined up perfectly, you can use pins if you want to. You're going to sew that U like right along that edge. And I use a zigzag stitch to make sure it stays. So when you're done, your pants should pretty much be put together like so. The only thing is now the sides are open. So that's when we take our other fringe and we sew the other fringe inside of the pants. Now this is where it could get a little tricky. So I like to start about 3 inches down just to make sure you got enough room for the waistband. See how I'm like, okay, 3-4 inches. You want to leave that space open and start the fringe after that, like below that. So as you can see here, I'm putting the fringe inside of the pants. It's like a flat part of that fringe. You see that flat part right there? That flat part is going to get sewn into the edge of the pants. And right here, I brought it up a little higher, but I just wanted to show y'all like how it's about to be sewn into the pants. And I would suggest using pins for this part just to hold that fringe in place. But you basically gonna close the side of the pants shut with the fringe inside. So you should have front of the pants, fringe back of the pants. And just make sure that flat part is along the edge of the pants. I hope this makes sense, y'all. So here I'm just kind of showing you what it would look like if you just sewed the fringe to one side of the pants and then closed it. That might be a little easier for you if this is like your first time doing it and you don't want to, you know, mess up or make a hole. You could sew the fringe flat to one side of the pants and then just close it after that. That might be a little easier. So that's another option, you know, just another way to do it. So when it's all said and done, it's all closed up on that one side, it should look just like that. You see it's a little bit of room at the top for the waistband, but the pants leg is closed and the fringe is sticking out. Just like that. So we just gonna close up that one leg so we can go ahead and put the elastic in. So here I'm just flipping it inside out just so you can kind of get a better view of what it's supposed to look like. I'm just checking the seams to make sure that it's completely closed and that the fringes are, you know, secured in the pants. So that little space I told you to keep at the top of the waistband, we're gonna go ahead and sew that up. Ooh, they coming together. Okay, so once you get that closed up at the top, this is how it should look. We got the pants pretty much done, but one side is open. So while that one side is open, I like to go ahead and put the elastic in. So what I like to do is I like to sew the edges down first. So you see how I'm like putting it in and I'm folding it over. You can use a pin to hold it in place if you need to. So now you want to go ahead and just sew down the edges of the waistband. And of course you want to fold that flap down before you sew it. You'll see in a second. See how it's folded down over it? And remember, we still got that pin in there, so be careful. But you want to just sew down, like just close the edges, the outer edges of the waistband. Basically, this is just to hold it in place so that once we close up the waistband, it won't be moving all around. All right, so now it should look like this, where it's just sewn down on the edges only. Each edge is sewn down. Make sure the whole waistband is going in the right direction. And now I'm gonna just go ahead and fold that complete waistband over. Go ahead and use pins if you need to for this part too. And just completely fold that whole waistband down. So while I'm sewing, I like to just use my finger as a guide to feel where the waistband, the actual elastic ends. Because while you're sewing, you want to make sure you don't sew the actual elastic. Because if you sew the elastic, then it won't stretch, it won't move. So my bobbin ran out of thread while I was sewing. And I just thought I would include this because this is a realistic sewing video. And you know, while you're in the middle of sewing, your bobbin will run out of thread and you gotta stop, thread the bobbin, completely rethread the sewing machine. Like, sewing can be really tedious, but you know, it's just a part of the process. So just be patient, take a deep breath, and then just finish sewing. So here I'm just finishing up closing the side of the leg. All right, y'all, the pants is done. So now I'm just snipping off them extra little, you know, fringe pieces. And boom, we got the pants. This is the back. Then I'm gonna show y'all the front. And of course, if you like this video, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.